let's go back and look at some of the different kinds of views, the different fun views, I guess, that we have that are available. And again, for any of the navigation areas here. So we're back on all opportunities. Let's look first at the calendar view. So you're probably familiar with this from the activities area. They already have a calendar view. But if you have any type of a record, so opportunities, maybe it's cases or some other type of record that you use CE for, if dates are important, you can use a calendar view for any type of any table in the system. So here I'm looking at all my opportunities by estimated close date. So I can really clearly see what I expect to close by the end of the month here. I can click on them to see more information, going into the more details if I wanted to open the form. And we can see there's some color coding here as well. You can pick a choice field and color code by rating or status, things like that as well. So it's a different option for an interface if the calendar view would make sense for your company. Another one that is available is the Kanban board. So the Kanban will give me two different options, and it can be configured depending on which table we're looking at. So this one that we're looking at right now for the opportunities is based on the business process bar. So I have a business process for my opportunity. I go through the qualify, develop, propose, and close stages. And this shows me really clearly who's in each stage, so I can look at each of the opportunities. If they're closed, I'm not able to edit, but if they're open, I can edit right in here as well. So I can interact slightly. I get some totals for each of the opportunity amounts that are in the stage, along with the count of opportunities that are in there. And if I know, for instance, that this opportunity is moving to develop, I can just simply drag and drop it into the develop stage. And it's going to pop up a screen here with the information for the qualify right on my screen. I can check to make sure I have all of the fields filled out and move it to the next stage to commit that move. I also have, besides the Kanban of the process bar, I can also use the status. And so that's for opportunities, the open, won, and lost status. So now it's showing me all of my opportunities by status here. Again, same idea. I get my totals at the top and I can edit. But if I know that this opportunity is closed, again, simply drag and drop it, and I'll be presented with the close opportunity screen. And I can say, okay, here to commit that. So just a different way to work with your records, to be able to interact right in here and drag and drop and have a different interface for managing that. Now, if you're using the default Sales Hub app, you may be already familiar with this, but it's called the pipeline view. And if you're using a custom app, but with opportunities, if you don't see this view, it's something that you can definitely look into. It's specific to the opportunity area, and it gives us some really great information to help us manage our sales. So we look at this at the bottom here is the view that we have been looking at this whole time. In this case, it's read only, but all of the controls that we've already looked at, the colors, the jump bar, the group by, that all can be incorporated into this bottom view here. In the middle, we have a deal tracker, which is a bubble chart. And clicking on any of the bubbles in the chart is going to show me the opportunity on the right-hand side. So it's a smaller form, but I'm able to completely interact with it, make any changes that I need, and hover through. As I hover on any of the bubbles in the item, I can see some really high-level information about each as well. I'm just going to close this so that we have more information here. Up at the top, you'll see that we have some KPIs. So we have pipeline value, count of deals, how much is won versus lost, etc. I can click on these in order to filter the information down below as well. Now you'll see here that we do have a sales funnel. The sales funnel is just another option from Deal Tracker, gives me a graphical view of the records shown below. I can use that to filter. So if I click on the close, for example, I can see now I have 5 records below that are in my close stage. I have one that's still open. Maybe I want to check into that to see if it's ready to be closed. And in the Deal Tracker, my bubble has now been updated. So I'm able to see just those 5 records on the Deal Tracker so I can see my timeline. You'll also notice that my pipeline values up above have updated to only show me those numbers, particularly the ones that are in the close stage. So in this pipeline view, I have the option default to the combo here where I see the deal tracker and the list. I can change my metrics that are showing at the top, so you can turn them on or off, and I can even create new ones based on any fields. If you have a custom field that you'd like to use, you can do that, and we have our basic aggregate functions available. So if I change this to my list view, you'll see now that I have just the regular view here down below, but I have my pipeline up top. So no matter what I'm picking here in the list, I can see these KPIs on the top, even though I'm interacting with a normal list. So you can keep that in mind if it's not something that you have enabled right now for the pipeline. It's something that can be turned on for your environment quite quickly. Now we have the most common view to look at with the current version of Dynamics CE. It's called the focused view. And if you're using one of the main sales or service apps, you'll probably already be familiar with this view. Or if you've used the Sales Accelerator in the past, it's very similar look and feel, but now the focused view is available for all of these main navigation areas that come in CE. If you're using an app that isn't one of the default sales or service hubs, you may need to enable the focus view in order to see this in your system. Otherwise, it should just be available out of the box. So what is the focused view? We've been looking at the views more as a grid list. So every record has its own row in a grid. These are the exact same records that we've been looking at, but they look a little bit more graphical, more of a card view. Instead of seeing the name of the opportunity, we're seeing our contact's name and their position, and then the information about the opportunity. But I'm also seeing activities. So we can see here that I have all of the lists of all of my opportunities, and I can see which have action items. So I can quickly look at this one here. I have a to-do on this. I'm supposed to prepare a task estimate. If I click on it, it's going to open up my task. I can enter in information, maybe close a task, say it's done, and update right from here without having to navigate to the form, look in my activity list and find it. I can just quickly open the activities right from that focused view. So it's a really great way for me to see what my to-dos are, make sure I'm following up on my open activities. I can see them very clearly here. And then of course, similar to how we saw the records at navigation earlier, as I click on the different records on the left-hand side, the form on the right is updating. I do have the same ability to search, the same we did before with my search items, or I have some filter here as well, and options for sorting. So while the other views we highlighted today need to be updated in the backend solution, as I mentioned, this focus view does not. It is out of the box now with the current versions of CE. So if you don't see it, it can be enabled really quickly in your sales app or in your custom app by your administrator. So if you don't see it today, I recommend looking into it. It's a great way to enhance the experience within Dynamics CE and manage your work.